Hello and welcome back to another video. It's been a while since we put one up. We've got the nets out. Apologies for any wind noise. It is quite blustery out here, so if you can't hear me, I do apologise. I've got you in the waterproof case just to hopefully try and protect you a little bit from the wind. Right, I've had a few people ask me how nets work and how people can stop the nets twisting up, so on and so forth. So the way that I work my gear, okay, so I've got 4 anchor points on it, so you might not be able to see it there. Where is it? Just here, just there is a piece of board about that big, and it's 12mm plywood, and it's about 2 foot on the ground. Okay, so that's one end, and I stick that in there just as an anchor point. Okay, I've also got another one of those, exactly the same in this part here, to stop the net from twisting and won't go under. Also another can as well at the top there, just to help as a buoyancy. So then the nets are anchored down on the floor at the bottom. Okay, I've got a reflective can on the end because it will be dark when we come back in the morning, just to have a little so it's reflective so we can see where we're going. So as the net runs right up through, I always set the floats into the flood, so when the tide comes in, the floats, this is the lead line, the floats are always being pushed away from the net, always. So then it does minimise that the floats going under or even getting wrapped up, because obviously there is always a swell. So there's always a swell when it's coming in, because it's quite blustery at the minute. So there's always a swell. Okay, so there's still always that potential of that lead line, although it's down hard, can always go over the top of the lead line. So across the top of the headline I've got floats. Okay, so every 14 stitches I'd say there's a float. Okay, so it allows the head rope to keep up in the water, so whenever there's a swell it always keeps it up away. I've just got 6mm head rope. Okay, so obviously it's stitched in with 6mm head rope, and obviously, as I say, every 14 stitches should I say, there's a float that goes along. So when it's blustery, when it is strong winds, I'm talking gusting about 40 mile an hour, I tend to stick plates or the wooden boards that I've got either end throughout the centre of the net as well, just to help stabilise the net in the movement of the water, especially because we only fish them on certain tides. That obviously once it's got a good lot of wind behind it and a good swell, it's got a tendency to move the net around a lot. Obviously with the tides it can be quite strong. So yeah, I normally put them throughout the centre of the net as well. I'll probably put about 4, between 3 and 4 throughout the net. That would be more than enough, because obviously you've got them 2 foot deep under the ground. Okay, so you won't need to go any more mad than that. Okay, where I'm fishing, as you can probably see, it's just thick mud. Okay, so make sure you know your beach where you're fishing, because obviously this is very thick. I'm just going across a gully at the minute, so it is quite thick, the mud here. But here, this is just off centre of the net, as I was explaining about. I put one in the centre, so I've literally just put this one in the centre just to stabilise the net. That's all I've done this for, just to stop the net going right out, because once the tide comes in and it fishes, it'll end up fishing like a half moon shape. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it centre, and then the 2 half moons, almost like the letter M. That's how the net will fish, and then when it tide floods out, it'll do the reverse of that. Okay, so obviously we're still fishing with the gear just to keep the net stable. Going up to the other end of the net. Okay, this one I'm working is 100 yards long. Oh, look at this, look. And we've got a beautiful racer clamp. Oh, look at the size of that one. Wow, stunning. That's an absolute beauty, that one. Obviously I'm not going to keep that one, because there's not going to be many of them, but I'll show my mate. I'm sure he'll be pleased to see it. But yeah, it's an absolute beauty, that. I'll put that one back in the ground in a minute. I do like razor clamps, I enjoy them, but there's no point in keeping it for just one, is there? So, right, yeah, obviously when we set the gear, make sure that the floats are always in the flood. Just double check your nets. double check them, because the last thing you want to do is spend the time putting the gear out and you're not getting any results out of it. So the target species that we're fishing for this time of the year is cod. Okay, they were very late last year, so they may even still be later now. So what I've got on the end here, okay, is I've got a can, and I've got, oh, hang on, sorry about that. So I've got a can on the end, okay, and I've put on there my nets. So if there's any boats that come in, not that there will be of a night time, but we can't always take that chance, okay. So if there's ever any boats that come in and we've got nets on, they see the can and they go, oh, hang on a minute, there's nets, and obviously we've got one on the other side as well, so they know that between there is gear, okay. If I don't log lines out, I'd put long lines on it just to help people out, okay. I put the 2 floats on the end. That obviously acts as an extra lift on the end of the net. So when the net fishes in the water, I don't know if you see this very well, it will fish like this, okay. So this is how it will stand in the water. It stands about 5 foot, between 5 and 6 foot, okay, this gear. It's a 5.5 inch mesh and a 32 inch wall. It's a Trammel net we're fishing with, and again I've got two plates in there, 2 foot deep, and same again, 2 foot deep there. Probably asking yourself, do they work? Yes, they work very well. They're very light, very strong, and much easier than bricks, a lot lighter than bricks. So the way it works, obviously, it's the suction, because the rope, or the splice of the rope, is in the centre, so obviously you've got that back suction behind it to prevent it from moving. So it's almost like a good suction, like a plunger almost, and there's no way that they will come out the sand, no way at all. I just literally put one in the centre just to stabilise the net. So I've worked these ones here in gales of wind. We had gales last week before, and it didn't move an inch, not an absolute inch. So that's how that setup works. I think someone mentioned about them spinning up as well. What it can happen is when you get work out where your tides are on your beach, because certain times of the year on these beaches especially, we get a lot of sandpipes, we get a lot of razor clams, and what the razor clams do is obviously this one's alive, so you get the black membrane there where it joins together. That tends to stay on once the fish has died off. So when they do is they go through and they bunch up the net. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a Trammel net, it can be any sort of net. It bunches the net up, and once that net's bunched and that headline's down onto the sand, as soon as that swell starts coming in, it's automatically just going to spin it up. So that's how that's going to work. But these floats here, these floats will help that out, and having a good strong lead line on the bottom and having a good set of floats along. Obviously I've rigged these nets for the beach. I can use these commercially as well if I want, out on this floor, out on the shore. That's not a problem. But if you can see here along the bottom, so the white stuff is the lead line, and I've also stitched some 6mm rope in there as well alongside. So that's stitched in, so that acts as an extra strengthener. So the lead line weighs it down, but the 6mm rope just acts as an extra strengthener. Okay, so just to reinforce that foot rope to stop it from breaking. So yeah, as you can see, that's quite hard down. There's no chance that's ever going to move around. So yeah, I think I've answered questions. As I say, we're targeting cod tonight, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we might get a couple. We have got 3 nets out tonight. So I've got my 2 out. I've got a 4-inch mesh and a 24-inch wall. This one, which we're looking at now, is a 5.5-inch mesh and a 32-inch wall. And my fishing partner, which is down the end there, you might not be seeing his light, he's got the 4-inch. So we've probably got about best part of 200 yards, 250 yards of Trammel net out. They catch well with turbots, rays, cod, plaice, soles. They'll catch anything really, these. So catching for the freezer, not catching to sell. So we'll just do our absolute damnedest, and hope for the best. So stay tuned, remember to subscribe for me, and take care of yourselves, and look out for the video on the tomorrow morning, which will be the next video that we do for the fish. And remember to have a good look, and remember to like and subscribe for me. Take care, bye bye.